5. I'm Nico Johnson, your host. Power Up Live is brought to you by Vartilla Energy Storage. We also have some amazing sponsors in TrueGrid, MGM, Fluence, and ABC. We've got some wonderful supporting sponsors, and it has been a wild show. We are bringing it home across the finish line with a few more impactful conversations. I've actually been looking forward to this one for really all week. And Doug, I know you've been busy over at the Yada show, so we had to wait until Thursday to get your takeaways. You know, clean energy is in the news a lot right now around AI, scaling data centers. The critical question is, can we get enough transformers built, delivered, and online fast enough? If you haven't been watching what's going on with MGM Transformers and the recent merger that now created Forgent, we're going to talk about all of that. Doug Banty is the former CEO of MGM, now EVP of Forgent. And he split his time this week, as I mentioned, between RE Plus and the Yada Data Center Conference. We're going to talk all about his view from the front row of the pressure points and the opportunities that are shaping our grid today. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, as we had Ben on last year to talk about just the splash that MGM is making. But you know what's interesting is that MGM is not a new company. It's a long-standing heritage of making critical infrastructure right here in America. So why don't we start there? Talk a little bit about the history, the heritage of MGM in a minute or two, and then I want you to explain what Forgent is and why now is the right time for that to come about.
Sure, I'm happy to. So MGM is really two brands. It's MGM and Banty Transformers. Both are pure play transformer companies. MGM has been around since 1974, so we're a 50-plus-year-old company. Banty's actually been around longer. It's been around since 1963, so we're up above 60 years for Banty.
Yeah.
And so they were both founded by engineers. It was a technical founder, and they survived for many, many decades as sort of bespoke transformer companies. In 2024, the summer, MGM acquired Banty.
Yeah.
So we put them together into one company. The industrial logic of that deal was MGM was very focused on dry-type transformers.
Right.
Banty was an oil-filled player, and our customers need both.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was a sort of an emergent strategy. It was driven by what our customers needed. They needed both, and so we acquired Banty. We put the two companies together. We built an enormous amount of capacity over the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Really to just serve our customers better. Forgent is an extension of that, right? And so we've been supplying transformers for a very long time.
Yeah.
Our customers have been asking for more and more breadth of our product offering.
Yeah.
They're asking for switchgear, they're asking for e-houses, they're asking for fully skidded solutions. And so Forgent addresses that need.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Forgent is the combination of 4 different companies. It's MGM, Banty, and then a company called PowerCube, which is based out of Maryland, and States Manufacturing, which is based out of Minnesota. PowerCube makes low voltage switchgear. So think there's a lot of different form factors. Think PDUs and RPPs and tap boxes, switchboards, et cetera. And then States focuses on medium voltage switchgear, as well as e-houses and then fully skidded solutions. And so if you put those 4 companies together and you look across them, we offer effectively a full powertrain solution for the end markets that we're serving.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you think about data center, and you think about from the utility step down all the way to the rack, we can effectively provide every piece of equipment. If we can't make it ourselves, we can buy it out. We can provide a full package. If you think about the renewable space with BESS and solar, we're moving in that direction as well. And so that's the industrial logic. Our customers have been asking for more. We want to provide a one-stop shop. We are a speed company. We're an execution.
Right.
We are a certainty of supply. And that's what we're going to do, but we're going to do it across a more broad portfolio of products.
Yeah.
And interestingly, we've been part of the same ownership group over the last couple of years. So we are not new. We
All
have
4 companies, you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have been brother, sister companies. We've been working with them. I know the CEOs of those other companies very, very well.
Yep.
And so this sort of happened organically. And so what Forgent is the parent company that more or less formalizes that relationship and helps us execute against that plan.
Are the individual brands going to remain the same, or are you guys ultimately going to merge into Forgent?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for the time being, all the brands are going to remain the same. If you look at our website, you'll see the 4 different brands and the 4 logos, and it's a combination of the 4. Over time, that might change. I don't know, but there's no immediate plan to move away from any of the brands, particularly on the Transformer side. MGM and Vantran will remain.
You've talked about a lot of the synergies. What are some of the non-obvious advantages that customers would notice now with Forgen in the market?
It's just a reduction of execution risk.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a second order effect, right? A lot of people can say they offer a big portfolio of products, right? There's large OEMs, there's the Schneiders, the Eatons of the world. We're going to do something similar, but we're going to do it from a sort of a combination of very, very fast-moving, execution-focused companies, and sort of a bottoms-up way, right? And so that's it. That's the name of the game. We want to move really fast, and we could talk about what's happening in the data center space, and even here, I mean, things are moving incredibly, incredibly fast, and so the market needs a company that can offer everything and do it really, really quickly and execute against what they promise, and that's what we're doing.
Well, it's almost counterintuitive for some that a transformer company would be talking about moving fast. So I just want to hit on maybe the elephant in the room. Historically, it doesn't really matter how fast you can bring a project online unless you know the deadline for when you're going to get your transformers. Are we still looking at a market that's constrained by this presumed bottleneck of transformers?
Not as much as it used to be.
Yeah.
Well, just to back up, Transformers is a very broad term, right? There's power transformers that are as big as a stage. There's transformers that can fit on the
power computer.
Right, on your fingertip. And so when you read in the Wall Street Journal that there's a transformer shortage, that is a very, very broad statement without a lot of nuance to it. The power transformers are still, there's a bit of a supply crunch with those. There's a lot of overseas folks that are coming into the U.S. You can track all the import data, and they're starting to solve that problem. But power transformers are still hard to get your hands on. That has not fully corrected. The distribution transformer market has corrected a little bit sooner than that. So in a post-COVID world, there was huge bottlenecks, and lead times went up to 100+ weeks. And everybody was talking about them. Elon Musk was talking about them. Those have come down quite a bit. Folks have brought on capacity, and the supply chain has normalized to a certain degree. And so, our lead times are not as low as they will be in the future. It's not a completely solved problem, but it's not as acute a pain point as it was maybe a couple years ago. And even, I mean, we brought on an enormous amount of capacity just last year. So
That's right. You opened a new factory.
Exactly. Yeah, we built over 500,000 square feet in Waco, Texas. We started shipping in Q4 of last year, and then we've been ramping production since then. And so it is probably one of the largest transformer factories in North America, certainly the most modern.
But can it keep up with Chris and Ben?
That's true. Ben, he is.
You might have the best sales team in the industry.
I know. Ben, when I hired Ben, the first thing he said is double the factory. Right? He had no idea how big it was. He said double the factory, and he was not wrong.
That's right.
He's doing a great job. The whole team has done an incredible job.
I don't think there's a single team in the industry that's hired more rock stars, like literal rock star, just like top performers than MGM. And it's one of those things where like the industry sort of turned around and went, what, a transformer company just hired all these guys that are just killers in the sales team? And it's like, and it's awesome. Like all the way down the roster. You got Abby over. It's like, it's a great team. My hat's off to you.
Let me do a quick plug.
Sure, go for it.
We are still hiring.
Are you?
And so if you are a rock star and a killer and you want to come work for MGM Transformers,
you
call me, you call Ben, and we'll take care of you. But it's an incredible team. What they've done is totally blew expectations out. To answer your question, though, we can keep up. The factory is very large and scaled.
I appreciate that you remember the question at hand.
Just to be crystal clear, we can keep up, and we're gonna continue to scale both sides in a responsible way.
That's good. We were saying before we came on stage that the Yada Energy Conference, which is more of a data center focused conference in its second year, kind of looks like maybe a decade behind RE Plus in scale. Contrast the conversations that you're having on the floor here versus what you sort of engaged in over at Yada.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yada is the data center conference.
Yeah.
It's across the strip. All they are talking about is energy.
Yeah.
Right? All they are talking about is power and how we're going to get power. Over here, all the folks are talking about at RE Plus, at least in the circles that I'm in, is what's happening with data center and what is this demand and is it sustainable and is it growing?
Everybody over here saying, what are they saying over there?
Yeah, so they're talking about each other from across the strip. Really, what we need to do is pull the two conferences together under the same roof, and we should all talk to each other.
That would be very smart, especially if they're going to co-locate again.
Yeah. So our business is, we serve a lot of different end markets. Renewables and data center represent the majority of our business. So we're sitting at both tables, but being a bit facetious, but at Yada, primary concern is power, without a doubt.
Right.
It is on everybody's mind. It is the gating item to continue building data centers. The data center build out is not going to stop. It's not going to slow down.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, this is something that we're not talking about 3 or 4 years and we achieve the goal. This is maybe 2-3 decades.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an existential crisis for the data center companies to build, right? Because,
but it's also, I look at it as well, like Doug, you and I, like Ben is a great example. Like Ben and I both got into the renewables industry as where solar was a place you could finally build a career, right? And there's never been a better time to be a power or energy expert where an industry so needed those skills.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
like the next 20 years, the folks that have been just like really leaning in and honing their skills have more than enough opportunity for work.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's how I ended up here. I was working for Bain & Company as a consultant. I was working for a utility company back in 2019.
Okay.
The conversations in the room were just super exciting. They were talking about renewable energy, data center demand, EV demand, grid hardening, et cetera. There was more happening in the space, the sort of sleepy utility space, than I ever imagined. I got very excited and I came, joined a transformer company just to really get access to this world. But I agree with you. I think this is the biggest thing happening. You could argue this is the only thing happening.
Right. What do you think is the disconnect, if there is one, between expectations around performance and risk at data center level versus the work that you traditionally engage in, or that you've learned sort of is the renewables sector, right? There's a lot of distinctions.
Yeah, if you think about the data, like if you think about the hyperscalers and what they're trying to do, they have AI to them is the biggest market ever. Yeah, right.
It is the biggest market ever.
If you size it, like conservatively, you size it as like labor's percentage of global GDP. It's like multiple trillions of dollars is the addressable market. Not to suggest that it's going to, eliminate all the jobs, but huge market, great unit economics, and first mover advantages.
Right.
They think, right? So it's going to be a winner take all, or a couple of winners take most, or whatever it plays out. That's what they believe, or at least they believe that there's a chance that it'll play out that way. And so they are operating under the impression that this is it's an existential crisis. It is something that they have to do. They have to do it as fast as possible. It's like I don't know how to. I can't overstate how quickly they're moving with a sense of urgency. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. So they are time constrained and they are capacity constrained, and all else falls second, distant second behind those two things. It is all about execution and scale and speed. And again, that's why we built Fortunes, largely for this dynamic. But that's how they're thinking about it. The renewable space is a little bit different. There's not. You don't feel. There's certainly a sense of urgency. I don't want to suggest that there's not, but you don't feel crisis level urgency to bring power online. It is a markedly different.
Well, the closer we get to December, you feel more and more crisis.
That's true. Yeah, we are creating crises, but not as much sort of demand driven or existential risk driven. So that's kind of the feeling I get. And so to answer your question more directly, there it's all about execution, it's about speed, it's about capacity, it's about scale, and how are we going to just do that? Here it's a much more rounded discussion, right? It's a cost, it's tariff impact, it's all these different things, and so.
If I'm a project developer trying to think about how to break into the data center market, is there, where are people making mistakes at trying to wrap their hands around how to serve the data center market as a renewables developer?
I don't know.
Not sure yet?
It's a good question.
Yeah. They haven't surfaced yet. I appreciate someone who's willing to say, I don't know, on the stage, by the way. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I could probably guess.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you to guess. I'm just curious if things have surfaced that you've observed, and if they haven't, that's just one of those questions.
Yeah. My guess would be it's around speed and execution more than anything else. That's
well,
it.
The good news is that renewables is the fastest deployable generation on the planet. Yeah.
Yep, by far.
By factor, by order of magnitude.
Yeah, yeah, it's the answer.
Yeah.
Like if you bridge the power that's needed versus what exists, even if you don't retire any assets or do any of those things, there's an enormous gap, and the only way to bridge the gap is with renewables. Like you can't do it with gas turbines. You're not going to do it with diesel. You're not going to do it with coal. You're not like nuclear. Who knows?
Yep.
And so it's the obvious answer. We need to get under the same roof, I think.
Yeah, there's your clip, Allie. I'm curious if there are specific infrastructure level conversations that you're having with your developers in terms of setting expectations of what they need to have in their design framework. Like, is there anything you've learned this week that helps you set that expectation with your customers?
Just from a transformer design
exactly.
perspective. Yeah, I mean, we're constantly iterating on the transformer design. Like the transformer technology hasn't changed in a huge way over the last 100 years, right?
Yeah.
It's old technology, but we engineer everything that we make. We don't pull anything off a shelf. There's no standard SKUs. It's all engineered to order.
Yeah.
And so, every time there's changes in the infrastructure, whether it's line harmonics, inverters, and batteries, and all these things make things complicated. And so we are iterating on the existing technology, and that's an everyday conversation for us.
Yeah.
And so we could get into the nitty-gritty details if you'd like. But I'd say there's nothing huge. There's nothing that's changing the core technology of the transformer. But we're an engineering company first, which may be a little counterintuitive, because it's thought to be older technology, but constantly innovating.
Well, here's something I'm wondering, because you guys do serve a lot of data centers. Mm-hmm. Do data centers, are they custom spec projects where everything is engineered for that site? There's nothing repeatable, nothing SKU-based that's kind of off the shelf that they're pulling in?
It's changing very rapidly, driven by rack densities.
Yeah.
So if you think about every NVIDIA chip, we're at the H100 now, every NVIDIA chip has higher and higher wattage at the rack.
Right.
And we're looking at a kilowatt at the rack very soon. Right? Wow. And so every time you do that, you have to effectively reinvent the entire powertrain.
Jesus.
Same basic parts, right? Yep. You've got switchgear, you've got a UPS, you've got transformers.
Yep.
But you have to just keep engineering it. It's a very, very fast cycle time.
Right.
Innovation.
In terms of months, weeks?
Yeah. Every project. I mean, you can read the news. I mean, they were making. Now we're making gigawatt data centers.
Right.
A couple of years ago, it was several orders of magnitude less than that, and it's going to keep going up. Facebook just announced, I think it was 5 or 10 gigawatts, I don't remember. But every time they do that, and every time the rack density increases, and then there's all sorts of innovations on the cooling side, which impact the electrical side, and so we're constantly cycling.
Yeah. And we had, I'm blanking on the guy's name that was on the panel at ACP in June. I ended up having him on afterwards, and he went really deep. So I'll link for folks that want to really understand how the data centers are put together. It was a fascinating discussion that included you on that panel. But I learned a lot, and I think that's exactly where most developers in the industry are, just in that learning mode, trying to understand better how to serve that customer, because it's something that's it's really not the same customer profile or load profile that we've been used to serving. I'm wondering,
I would just build big, build fast, double it. You should
double
do
it, like
Ben.
Ben.
You should do what Ben Macias. You should double it, I think is the answer.
That's hilarious. Well, I'm wondering, as we wrap here, if there's one lesson that I would take away, walking away from this session or this week. What do you think is that one step that I can take to make my projects move faster, save weeks, or if not, days, weeks, months off my next project?
I don't have anything novel on that. It should be a partnership model. Engage very early. Be open about requirements. That's it. I mean, for us, our best customers we've had for decades, right? And so we know exactly what their pipeline is going to be for several years out into the future. Yep. We can carve out capacity for them. We can have open conversations about what things are going to look like going forward, and that is how you de-risk a schedule. So
while that doesn't sound novel in an industry where people are constantly whoring themselves out to the lowest price, I think that it really does matter that folks choose someone that they work with for decades, right? And what we've seen is that in the times where we have constraints like high demand, low availability, it is the folks that have been consistently coming back to you working like a two-way street. They get allocation.
Yeah.
And also they get the best price, but mostly get allocation. We both know it's not. When you've got the EDFs of the world they'll commit and they'll work with you for 3, 4, 5 years. They're not asking you for the lowest price. They're asking you for the date that you'll deliver it, right? Yeah. And that's what matters. Yep. And that's what the data centers ultimately want. They also aren't so concerned about the lowest price. They want to know that when it comes online, it's going to stay online, and you're going to get it there on the day that you told them you would.
Yep, that's how we operate. That'll be my second plug of the podcast. If you are a developer who wants a multi-year relationship, call me.
There you go.
Because that's what we look for. That's how we go to market.
But don't call MGM. Call Forgent.
Call Forgent.
Indeed. Doug Banty is the new EVP of the newly formed Forgent, a conglomerate now of 4 titans in transformer and power conditioning technology.
Exactly.
Doug Banty, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Pleasure conversation. And thank you all for joining us on our journey towards the last. I think I just went off.